Hello students, in this video you'll be learning about beta oxidation of fatty acids. Now let us know what beta oxidation of fatty acids is. It is the catabolic process wherein the free fatty acid molecules are broken down to produce acetyl-CoA, and all these reactions take place in the mitochondria. So why it is called as beta oxidation? Let us know here. See, the structure which is seen here in the slide is palmitic acid structure. So it's a 16 carbon chain compound. The carbon which is directly attached to the carboxyl end. So this is the carboxyl end. The carbon which is directly attached to this carbon is alpha carbon, and the carbon which is attached to this alpha carbon is called as beta carbon. So when the bond that is present between the beta and alpha carbon is broken down, it is called as beta oxidation, and there is involvement of oxygen here. Therefore, it is called as beta oxidation of fatty acids. So at the end of the reactions, acetyl-CoAs are produced. All these acetyl-CoA enter into Krebs cycle, or it is also called as citric acid cycle, you know it. And the NADH and FADH2 that are produced in the reaction are used or utilized in electron transport chain reactions. Therefore, a total of 100 ATPs are produced at the end of the beta oxidation of fatty acid process. So out of this 108 ATPs, 2 of them are utilized in activating the fatty acids, and therefore 106 ATPs are generated in this process. Now, where are these fats stored in our body? It is stored in the abdomen, it is stored in the thigh regions, it is stored in the arms. So the fats are present in the adipose tissue in these regions. When a person fasts for a longer time, the fats undergo beta oxidation process and they release energy in the form of ATPs. So most of the fats that are stored in the adipose tissue are triglycerides. So triglycerides, you have learned the structure of triglycerides. It is the combination of glycerol and 3 fatty acids. So for the fatty acids to undergo beta oxidation process, the fatty acids have to be freed. That is, free fatty acids have to be made available. Therefore, there are 3 different processes which are involved in this. These processes are involved in the transfer of these free fatty acids to the target cells for the metabolism process to take place. Those are release of free fatty acids from triglycerides, transfer of free fatty acids to the target cells through fatty acid transporter, and the activation of fatty acids and transfer of acyl-CoA into inner mitochondria. Now, in the adipose tissue, the triglycerides are present. Glycerol is a heavy molecule holding the free fatty acids with the ester linkages. So, ester linkages have to be broken down, and this is done by the enzyme lipase in the adipose tissue. The lipase act on these ester linkages and it frees the free fatty acids. Now the free fatty acids that are released will enter into the bloodstream. From there they move in the bloodstream to the target cells where the metabolism takes place. Only 2 cells, that is RBCs and the neuronal cells. So these are the cells which lack mitochondria, and in these cells the metabolism of fatty acids will not take place, and rest of the cells show the metabolic process. Therefore, when the fatty acids are freed, they enter into the bloodstream and they move in the bloodstream and they reach the target cells. When they reach the target cells, they enter into the cytoplasm through fatty acid transporter. So through fatty acid transporter, they enter into the cytoplasm, and from there they enter into the mitochondria. Before that, the free fatty acids have to be activated to form acyl-CoA, and this acyl-CoA is transferred into the inner mitochondria, nothing but the mitochondrial matrix. Here you can see the activation of fatty acids. So now the free fatty acids are activated by the enzyme acyl-CoA synthetase to form acyl-CoA. So CoA is attached to the acyl here molecule to form acyl-CoA molecule. And this reaction requires ATP. ATP is converted into AMP and pyrophosphate is released here. Now acyl-CoA is formed, which is the activated form, and this can enter into the mitochondrial matrix. So it happens in the cytoplasm. Now from cytoplasm it should enter into the mitochondrial matrix. The outer membrane is permeable to almost all molecules in the cytoplasm. So here what you can see is part of the mitochondria and the cell. So this is the cytoplasm of the cell, and this is the mitochondrial matrix of the cell. This is outer mitochondrial membrane, this is inner mitochondrial membrane, and between these two inter-membrane space is there. The outer membrane is permeable to almost all molecules because it has pores in it, and those pores are called as porins. So acyl-CoA can enter through porins into the intermembrane space, but the inner membrane is not permeable to the acyl-CoA. Okay, therefore there are three enzymes that are involved in the transfer of acyl-CoA into mitochondrial matrix. Altogether it is called as carnitine shutter. So what are the three enzymes that are involved in the transfer of acyl-CoA? One is carnitine palmitoyl transferase 1. The second enzyme is carnitine acyl carnitine translocase, and the third enzyme is carnitine palmitoyl transferase 2. Now the acyl-CoA has entered into the intermembrane space. The enzyme carnitine palmitoyl transferase 1 detaches CoA from acyl and attaches carnitine molecule to this to form acyl carnitine. Now the coenzyme that is CoA that is removed or detached from acyl is sent to cytoplasm. Now acyl carnitine is formed. The enzyme carnitine acyl carnitine translocase helps in transferring it from intermembrane space into mitochondrial matrix. As you know that only acyl-CoA can get into Krebs cycle, but not acyl carnitine. Again, acyl carnitine has to be changed to or converted to acyl-CoA. That is done by the enzyme carnitine palmitoyl transferase 2. What it does is it removes carnitine from the acyl carnitine molecule and it gives it to carnitine palmitoyl transferase 1. Now acyl which is left out, to this it will add CoA. So here acyl-CoA is formed. Now this acyl-CoA is now present in the mitochondrial matrix, and next the reactions takes place. Now let us see what are the reactions that takes place in the beta oxidation process. Now this is the fatty acyl-CoA structure. The longest carbon chain, fatty acid chain, is palmitoyl-CoA, which has 16 carbon in it, and the carbon, when this palmitoyl undergoes this beta oxidation process, acetyl-CoA is formed and another 14 carbon chain fatty acid is formed, that is called as myrcetol-CoA, which is short of 2 carbon, and when it undergoes all the process, that is beta oxidation process, again one acetyl-CoA is formed, and the another molecule which is short of 2 carbons is called as lauryl-CoA. Okay, now let us see how it happens. So this is the fatty acid. Now this is converted to acyl-CoA. Now it enters into the mitochondria, this is there in the mitochondria. What happens when it enters into the mitochondria? The first step is dehydrogenation process, where there is removal of hydrogen from here. So FAD is converted into FADH2, and this reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. What happens here when hydrogen is removed from alpha and beta carbon? This is alpha carbon and this is beta carbon of R. So when this is removed, a double bond is formed between alpha and beta carbon. So and this is called as enoyl-CoA, or it is also known as trans-enoyl-CoA. The next step is hydration step, that is addition of water molecule to enoyl-CoA. This is catalyzed by enoyl-CoA hydratase. That is OH is added to the beta carbon and a H is added to alpha carbon here. And the resultant structure which is formed here is hydroacyl-CoA. Now this again enters into the next step, that is dehydrogenation takes place here. There is removal of hydrogen, where NAD is converted into NADH, and this is catalyzed by the enzyme hydroxyacyl-CoA dehydrogenase. So this results in the formation of keto-acyl-CoA, where 2 oxygen can be seen here. And finally, next step is thiolysis, where thiolase enzyme splits keto-acyl-CoA into 2 compounds. One is acetyl-CoA compound and the other one is acyl-CoA. See here, the palmitoyl-CoA, when it enters, it undergoes all these 4 steps to form mesityl-CoA, because 2 carbon will be removed to form acetyl-CoA here. So 1 acetyl-CoA is formed. 16 compound chain will form 14 carbon chain compound. When again mesityl-CoA undergoes all these 4 steps, it gives out 1 more acetyl-CoA and lauryl-CoA is formed. Like this until it forms 8 carbon chain compound, the reaction takes place. Therefore, 7 cycles of beta oxidation takes place. So when this 7 cycles of beta oxidation takes place, 8 acetyl-CoAs are formed, 7 NADH are formed and 7 FADH2 are formed. Okay. So what are the total number of ATPs produced here? 1 acetyl-CoA, when it enters into the Krebs cycle, it produces about 10 ATPs. So 8 acetyl-CoA will give out 80 ATPs. And 1 NADH is equal to 2.5 ATPs. And 1 FADH2 is equal to 1.5 ATPs. When you calculate all these, you will get total of 108 ATPs produced at the end of the beta oxidation process. And 2 of them will be utilized in the activation of fatty acid, free fatty acid, to form acyl-CoA. Therefore, 106 ATPs will be formed at the end of the reaction. So here I complete the beta oxidation of fatty acids. Thank you very much.